YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode here on ESGNet, and this is Madden 18, Dallas Cowboys franchise, and this is the Cowboys Insider. This is episode 16, as we're taking a quick look here at week 16, and what a week 16 it was, ladies and gentlemen. Cowboys defense really did a great job there in the second half, really throughout both halves, really, on defense, getting picks, and we'll talk more about that here in just a bit. But the Cowboys last week in their game against the Seahawks had a great game there. Russell Wilson really had a tough time there. He had 4 touchdowns but had 5 interceptions. You know, it came close to 300 yards, 375. Now, he did throw better yardage-wise, but when it comes to sacks and interceptions, not his thing. He also had 5 sacks in that ball game there. As Prescott, on the other hand, had a great game there with the team there, and we'll see. Well, you've seen the numbers there for him. Now, as for Zeke Elliott, he's getting back in and trying to get back into his old groove there, as he's got 50 yards there. He did get 1 touchdown, but not much of an impact from him from last week, as Eddie Lacy there for the Seahawks there had about the same there, but no touchdowns for him. As for Jason Witten there, the old-timer there, had a great game there. He had 57 yards with 1 touchdown there for himself, along with help from other guys there on the team there. But for the most part, I think the Cowboys played a really great game. And really, talking to Jason Garrett there this past week, actually right before we got onto air today, I talked to him, got a chance to talk to him. He said that he was very, very happy with the defense of what they played last week, and the way they played last week, of how they just really just put a lot of those, of course, interceptions were coverage, just having the guys there at the right time in the right place. And he's happy with that, and he's hoping that the guys can do that same thing again next week, even with a tough game coming up in Philadelphia, because the weather conditions are not in favor of the Cowboys. They hope that they can go. Being undefeated is not necessarily the goal they're looking forward to, because the goal is, of course, go to the Super Bowl and to win it. But just being undefeated is just putting the cherry on top. And me personally, I think that's just kind of just a scapegoat. They don't want to really talk about it. They don't want to jinx themselves. But I think going undefeated is one of those things you have, regular season. I mean, we've seen other teams do it, like the Patriots and all those. Patriots probably the most team in the current NFL had that team that's done that. But he says that it gets even harder going into the playoffs. Knowing that you won 16 games in a row in the regular season, and then you lose, you can easily lose the first game. Even though they have a bye week, you can lose the first game and be out of it, and people are going to be wondering what happened. So, he told his team that they did not want them to didn't want them to really focus in on that. Just go out there, have a good game. The plan is for next week against Philly is to have at least try to have a good go in the first half. They want to have if they can have at least a 2 to 3 possession lead, start getting the backups in there, getting them some time, and kind of just rest up the starters. As we'll see here, big decision coming up for us, as we have to make a decision on if we're going to start Sean Lee this week or not, and if we're going to keep Kyle Wilborn out there. And I think, talking to Jason Garrett there, he said that he's going to, the plan is to keep Lee out for a while there. They want to keep him rested up and have him ready to go for the postseason. So take a look at league news there. That is one of the big stories there, that big holiday matchup, post-holiday matchup. We just got done with having that Christmas Eve game with the Seahawks there. Now we have this big game coming up here right before the new year, and that will be against the Eagles. So it's a big game there in Philly, and we're going to have to be ready for it. Like I said, the conditions there, I think I said towards the end of the video of the last Cowboys, towards the end of that video there with the Seahawks there, I said the weather conditions were not in favor of us, and that is true. There's going to be anywhere from 6 to 12 inches of snow there. The wind conditions are going to be blowing around. If you ever been into Lincoln Financial this time of year, it is just hell on wheels there. As you're taking a look right now at the season week 15 stats there, or scores there, but yeah, it's not going to be in favor for us, so that's going to be a lot of problems, and it may become an issue with this. So we may have to run the ball a little bit more But from our scouting report, which we'll get to here in just a bit, we're being told that the Eagles' secondary is not playing that well this year, and we need to take advantage of that. So it means we get to be able to throw down the field, meaning that there'll be a good opportunity here for Dez to get involved here. We'll get him involved in a lot more. I know a lot of you guys here that have been following the series have been saying, "Hey, what's going on with Dez? Why are you not throwing to him?" And for the most part here, for a lot of times, it's because Dez is not open. They have him too close to being played, and we're gonna try to see if we can now utilize him a little bit more in that game. Now we'll take a look here. If we go back to last time we played against the Eagles there, back in week 11, I believe, Carson Wentz 263 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions in that game. We sacked him 3 times, I think, in that game. Darren McFadden, of course, was in that game. He played for us very well, 27 carries, 151 yards, 1 touchdown. Sproles was in that game. This is the game that we actually knocked out Sproles from playing, as he had 44 yards and 1 touchdown with 9 carries in that game. Sproles will not be in this game this week. He still is out. I think he has another 4 weeks left of his injury. So it's going to be come up now because of LeGarrette Blount now is back. So Blount is back. We're going to have to deal with him, and we'll have to see what we can do against that running, because one of the other reports there for us in the scouting there, it says, says in the scouting report there that Blount has been on fire here as of late. He had a really good game there, I believe, against the Raiders just last week, and he's been chomping at the bit. He said in local media there that he was really hoping to put a hurting on the Cowboys defense, as he said there's some issues that have been that they need to be exposed about, because there's some things that a lot of people are not seeing, and we'll see if that'll be true here coming up in that game. So we'll see if Blount's his future telling is going to be true or not, and if they'll be able to get that victory against us. So and there was quite a bit of trash talk amongst the two teams there. Of course, the Eagles, like I said, they are just envious right now because they are 7-7-1. Really don't have an outlook for the playoffs here. They're just playing right now for pride and just to play as spoiler to us and trying to go for our undefeated streak. Take a look at the NFL standings right now. As you take a look there, Steelers right now hold the NFC North there with a 9-6 record right there. They're going to go ahead and go to the playoffs. There you see the Ravens right behind them. As for the AFC South, there you see the Jaguars 12-3. They're looking very good. Titans 9-6. They're both going to go to the playoffs. Of course, the Jaguars do have the division there, so I believe they'll be one of 2 teams, along with the Patriots there, getting the bye week there coming up. Patriots 13-2, of course, so playing really well there with Tom Brady. Going ahead and go to the AFC West. There you see the Chargers and Broncos. Both are going to go to the playoffs, as they are actually it's kind of up in the air still. We don't know who has the division just quite yet, but right now the Chargers do, with a 10-5 record. Broncos just need a victory there, and I believe, I think they'll be short there. Well, they'll have a playoff berth. They'll be in the hunt, or at least get a wild card spot. Lions there playing very well there in the NFC North, NFC South there. The Falcons 11-4 there, having a great year there. Dominating there over the Saints there, which is hopefully they don't have a season like they did last year where they went all the way to the Super Bowl and then choked. And then of course us 15-0 there for us, and then the Seahawks there you see they are 11-4, and then you see those poor 49ers there just cannot get a break at all. They're 0-15. So take a look at the injury report here for the Seahawks, or for the Eagles. As we take a look here, McAllister, he will come back next week. He's come back from his injury there, the left end there for the Eagles. And then you got the other 2 guys that are going to be out extensively there. Of course, Sproles there, you see that fractured elbow there, 5 weeks left. I thought he had 4, but he actually has 5 weeks there. So he'll be out there, and we don't have to worry about him. So the running issues, well, still going to be an issue because we have LeGarrette Blount to worry about now. So there you see, take a look at what our game plan is here for that. And it says that for offensive game plan is for us is basically just go out and throw the ball. Now we have to look out for the zone blitzing there. They like the zone blitz. They like to put pressure on us, and that is something that we can easily fall into if we let that happen from the Eagles defense there, because Dak here as of late has been throwing a lot of picks. He's only had, I think, maybe 1 or 2 games where he came out of the game clean, had no issues with any interceptions. So that's something we're going to have to try to work on in that game. Defensively there, we're going to have, like I said, we're going to have to zone blitz them because we need to put pressure on Carson Wentz. He's had a pretty good year so far here. He's thrown for 3,855 yards, 17 touchdowns, 22 interceptions there. He's completed 61% of his passes. He's been sacked 18 times. But again, this is only his second year of being in the NFL, but he's still in the learning process here, and we still can try to, if we can get in there early and blitz him more often and have different blitzes at different angles, and have him off his game, we definitely, if we can just take him out of the game there, we will definitely have a victory there. LeGarrette Blount, 203 attempts so far this year, 881 yards, 10 touchdowns, 5 fumbles there, and of course he's been out because of injury for most of the season there. And like I said, because of local press, he has said that his objective this year, or his objective for this game, is to be a spoiler here for the Cowboys and put an L on their record. So he wants to put a blemish on us. We'll see if that'll be true coming up in next week's game. Alshon Jeffery there for him, 59 receptions, 835 yards, 4 touchdowns there. Nobody really in receiving wise is getting close to 1,000 yards, with maybe except for the exception of Torrey Smith for him this season. But Alshon Jeffery, he's had a couple injuries here. He's been out for a couple of weeks here and there because of some nagging injuries there, and they're hoping to see what he can do here for this final game of the season. Torrey Smith, like I said, he's getting close to 1,000 yards. He has right now currently 900 yards for the season, 4 touchdowns, 93 receptions for him for the year, and he's been pretty much their go-to guy here for a lot of the games there for the most part of the season here, along with Nelson Agholor, he's also been off and on the DL here this year, and he's been trying his best to stay with the ball club here and keep up with them, as he had a pretty big nice catch last week against the Raiders there. We'll see here his numbers: 40 receptions, 530 yards, 2 touchdowns there for him. We'll see how we're going to stop him, because and I should have added Wichita too, because if we do take him out, I just not thought about it now. Nick Foles is the quarterback, and of course Nick Foles is a former starter for the Eagles before he got demoted and letting this young quarterback Carson Wentz there. Zach Ertz, one of the big targets there for the Eagles offense there. His year this year, kind of a modest year, 57 receptions for 631 yards, 2 touchdowns there for him so far this year, and he's been chomping at the bit too. He's been saying that he wants to have a big game here this week because he wants to see what he can do. They really want to measure themselves here against the Cowboys, what they can do there on the offense. And then Brandon Graham, 74 tackles, 13 tackles for loss, 13 sacks, a fumble, and 2 fumble recoveries for him this season so far here for the Eagles, as the 7-year man from Michigan there is trying to, of course, again, just this whole Eagles team they're begging to be spoiler here for us, and this might be the game that could do it. I mean, a lot of people saying that the Cowboys, with the interceptions that Dak has thrown, those can start adding up here. Not to mention, Cowboys had a great game last week. They might be on a drunken stupor after that big game there against Seattle, and we'll see if that'll be the case, as we got Fletcher Cox there, 5-year man from Mississippi State. Numbers this year for him: 65 tackles, 17 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, a fumble, and a fumble recovery for him, and we'll see what he'll be able to do on defense there. So we'll see what we can try to avoid here, and try to see if we can get a victory here for week 17. If we can go 16-0, and if that's to be the case there, that'll be very nice. But like I said, Jason Garrett said that is not our goal here. Our goal is to get to the playoffs, get through the playoffs, and of course be a Super Bowl. He believes this team is a true Super Bowl contender, and for right now, I would have to say I have to agree with him. They are a Super Bowl contender, and they just need to put, this is really the game that they really need to show other teams, hey, we're not a joke, and we're going to take this seriously, and we're going to get to the playoffs. So far, they've been doing that. They've been showing a lot of teams what they can do, but they've been having a close, and of course, they have quite a few close games here now with this ball club here. It's bound. A lot of people are saying they're bound to lose one, and why not lose game 16 or game 17 and just have a fresh new start going to the playoffs? Well, some people may have some kind of theory to that. I don't know, but it's still a regular season game. You still are there to play to win the games and to make that money. So, got to try to see what they can do here against the Eagles coming up in week 17. So, we're taking on the 7-7-1 Eagles, taking on the 15-0 Cowboys here in week 17 at Lincoln Financial there in Philly, PA. That's it for this episode for the Cowboys Insider. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a like. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more Dallas Cowboys franchise here on ESGNet. You guys can also follow us on social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Discord. You guys can check us out there for the latest news and events on what's going on here on the channel and what is going on in the world of sports gaming in general. Thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned for more Dallas Cowboys franchise here on the channel. As always, keep yourselves and each other healthy, and I will see you guys next time.